Okay, I know I keep changing PowerPoints on you, but truthfully, the PowerPoint right now that follows your book does not do a good job on the function of these organelles, and I want to make sure that you get that information. Okay, so we talked about the cell membrane. Now, coming within the cell membrane, between the plasma membrane and the nuclear membrane, is this semi-fluid material called the cytoplasm. It reminds me of sort of liquidy jello. But in that cytoplasm, there are a lot of organelles in a eukaryotic cell. In a prokaryotic cell, which is bacteria, everything the bacteria has to do takes place in that cytoplasm. Their DNA is one long strand in the middle of that cytoplasm, and they have ribosomes in their cytoplasm. So everything that cell needs to do occurs within the cytoplasm. In eukaryotes, which is going to be everything but bacteria, that's not the way it is. We have all of our processes taking place in what are called organelles. Now, eukaryotic cells have got very organized structure. We know that those are called organelles, and that there are going to be these organelles anchored into the bottom of the cell, into its framework, so that they don't move around. There is a framework at the bottom of the cell. If you took all of that out, if you took all of this cytoplasm out and all of these organelles and took them out, you would see this meshwork or this framework that actually is giving the cell structure. It's just like your skeleton. And so the skeleton itself is made of these proteins fibers. Now, this has been dyed with a fluorescent dye, but what it reminds me of is a gauze pad. You know how you have a gauze pad on a wound that might be a little bit large? That's what it's like. And if you took the nucleus out and you took the cytoplasm out and you took all of the organelles out, at the very bottom would be this cytoskeleton. It means cell skeleton. So the cytoskeleton gives the cell its shape. It's not the cell membrane. Remember, the cell membrane is very fluid and flexible. It's this network of proteins that crisscross at the bottom of the cell that actually gives its shape. So it's very, very important that the cell maintains some sort of structure. Our skeleton gives us structure, and that's what these proteins do for the individual cell. Now, the nucleus is where the DNA lives, and our DNA contains genes. And on your genes, this is like your blueprint, guys. This is, what you are, your eye color, your hair color, your height. All of what makes up you is contained on your genes, and your genes are just segments of your DNA. Now, the two biggest demands on the nucleus is, number one, it has to be protected. That DNA has got to be protected within the nucleus. It can never leave, because if it does, then we're going to lose all of our genetic instructions. The second is the DNA has got to be available. Your DNA carries instructions, like it carries recipes for certain proteins. If this was DNA in your pancreas, it would be holding on to the code for making insulin. So it's very necessary that this gets protected. So the nucleus is encased in what is called a nuclear membrane.